Welcome everyone to another episode here at Macro Crypto, giving you a fresh perspective, or at least attempting to give you a fresh perspective around the JRNY Club and Planet Solo ecosystems each and every week. Even though this past week's been a little bit delayed, been rather busy, but here we are taking on my journey into the JRNY Club itself as a legendary journeyer within the space. That's a lot of journey happening across this project. But mind you, will I always be a legendary journeyer? Well, that's going to be a wait and see approach. Most likely not, because most likely I believe that this project is going to become massively successful. What does that look like in 2 to 3 years? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball and anticipating what it is in value wise to ETH or USD, but I do believe that it's going to grow to be very successful in regards to where I currently have my average cost basis for this project. And I'm going to take profits where I need to. What does that look like? It's 6 months away or 2-3 years down the line. Look, we're here for a long time and not just the good times. But if we are able to become profitable in certain areas, we are going to exit out and get some profits along the way. And that doesn't going to stop me from maybe even picking up more passes if I think there's value to be had and getting to an apex role, but also then offloading those and coming always down. The goal is to come back to just one, because what's going to be more successful for this project is ultimately having more people a part of it, getting more unique addresses closer to that 10K set than having a bunch of apex or a bunch of legendaries within the space. So just laying out what my thought process is in regards to my holdings and being fully transparent on a weekly basis. You'll be able to see that if I end up unloading any passes. Haven't sold any yet. And I actually probably plan on picking up a couple if the market continues to drop from where the current floor price is, because we're all anticipating the PFP set that matches with the passes, especially given the rarity that's going to come out to these. I think it's really going to drum up some excitement for the project. But ultimately, the crypto market really has a stranglehold on the NFT space as well as the whole macro economy. So we'll see how this all operates. Are they going to push back the announcements on those sort of things? Your guess is as good as mine, but we'll dive into that within this video. Enough about me. We got some chaos happening within the streets. As you probably well know, the JRNY Club Twitter page was hacked this past week, causing blood in the streets, a war zone to take place basically within the land of NFTs, or specifically the JRNY Club membership passes. So many passes stolen, wash trading happening on OpenSea, people gobbling up passes for the cheap. And who's to blame them? This is capitalism at its best. Individuals getting taken advantage of. It's rough to see, and my heart goes out to those individuals that got passes stolen. I don't know what the club's going to do for these individuals, so that will be interesting to see moving forward. But ultimately, we're going to go over some red flags on the Twitter page itself, because what actually happened is kind of what everyone's wondering. And how did this take place? We'll dive into that within this video. And ultimately, if you don't have a ledger and you hold a pass, the pass is worth right around roughly $1,000, maybe $900 at this moment. But you need to get yourself a ledger, or at least a hardware wallet device to protect your assets. The ledger itself you can get for under $100. It makes no sense to me to have so many valuable assets in a wallet and allow this to take place without having a hardware wallet. And yes, I understand that also hardware wallets don't stop all attacks, but it at least prevents the majority of them. So if you are one of those individuals and you're watching this content and you have your passes in a hot wallet, meaning a MetaMask that's not protected by a hardware wallet, go to Ledger, go purchase one. You can even go get a Grid Plus or go get yourself a Trezor, even though the Trezor is like awful in my opinion. But Ledger's my favorite. It's very easy and simple to use. Go get yourself one directly. Do not buy secondary ledgers. You're just asking to then get all your assets liquidated as well. Go directly to the site and purchase one. You will be better off securing ETH and all your NFTs securely and any ERC20 tokens, whether it's Ape or whatnot. But let's get off of that soapbox around Ledger. We're also going to be talking about the launch of the Stardust Store. Definitely was overshadowed by the news of the Twitter hack itself, but we will be giving you a little insight on what that Stardust Store looks like. We have, I think, like at this moment, 14 Stardust millionaires, so we're going to give all of them a shout out within this video, but also what can you purchase with that Stardust. And of course, we're going to be going over the OpenSea activity, floor price, what is currently going on, who's purchasing. We got some other projects picking up some passes for their projects themselves that just minted this week. We're going to dive into all of that, as well as talking about, we've mentioned in previous videos, the web that is growing for the JRNY Club. So initially the JRNY Club being that parent company, spitting out the Planet Zolo ecosystem, and then also the Stardust Store and what's starting to branch off. What does that look like? And as that web starts to expand and build, we'll continue showing that on a weekly basis as well. So we'll dive into that shortly within this video. Hopefully everyone enjoys this content. If you do, like, subscribe, and head over to that Twitter page at Macro Crypto Club and give us a follow. Like always, the link will be down in the description. Let's go ahead, everyone, dive deeper into that Twitter attack. Let's get into it. So what transpired with the Twitter hack? Well, as you see in front of you, the JRNY Club pinned tweet is actually still there. Hey there, Journeyers. Time for the second stage of the Stardust Store. Everyone is eligible to claim our Stardust membership pass for free. Just pay gas. Holders of JRNY Pass will be eligible to claim 2 times the passes for free. Claim here. Now, first and foremost, the first red flag everyone needs to be aware of: stealth mints. They're not a thing. If they are a thing for some project, get out of that project, okay? But also, when there is a mint, always go to a secondary source. This was a hack over on Twitter, so go to Discord, ask around. There is no like, you first go, or first come, first serve, or just because you're first, you're getting a special prize. No, take your time with these sort of things. You understand that hacks are out there. You as an individual that have the sole security for your wallet. It is no one else's fault. It's tough to say, but yeah, you're at 100% fault if you get anything stolen from your wallet. You have to have zero trust for anyone out there in the space. Myself, Tony, anyone is included in that. So when you take that responsibility on, one, get yourself a damn ledger. I already said it, saying it again. But two, take precautions along the way, because the ledger is not going to prevent all hacks. When I look at this, you got to understand that stealth mint, red flag right away. Go verify it. Number 2, we look at JRNY.club. The S is not part of it. It's JRNY Club, JRNY.club. A lot of times on these fake websites, basically they add a punctuation such as a period, exclamation mark, question mark, or an extra character like the S that you see in JRNY.club here into that. Just that one small change, we might not catch it on first glance, but you have to be aware of these types of hacks in the first place. So catching that right away ultimately allows you to take pause for a moment. Also, I did go onto my virtual machine to check out JRNY.club. The website looks pretty good in regards to the hack itself. Obviously there's a connect. I think typically it's up in the top right for the project, or for you to connect your wallet on the JRNY.club website. Here it was like underneath some of the mints. Now, connecting your wallet is not the issue. If you connect your wallet to a website, you're just allowing them to view the assets that you have in your wallet. Where the issue lies is when you start signing things to sign over a approve all. And typically in MetaMask, it's going to tell you approve all. If you approve all of a specific asset, in this case, it was the JRNY Club membership passes, they have access to all of your passes and they can transfer them at will without any further permissions. But what is key here is that you can kind of see how this happens also on Uniswap, or like where the approve all mechanism for you to actually give Uniswap the permission to use all of those assets that you're looking to trade, because you don't want to have to pay the fee for the approval each time for that specific amount. Hopefully they have a better way or a better handle of this, and that approve all goes away at some point, but ultimately you have to recognize that as a user within Web3. So I know this is all tough to hear, and we look at red flags and we further try to understand how we can safeguard our assets, but it's something that we have to be aware of moving forward. Now, the JRNY Club, what actually went down, Tony tweeted out, since people are saying, how could you get hacked? This compromise didn't happen on our end. We were told a Twitter employee was social engineered into changing the pass. Only Twitter can stop this at this point. You gotta give Twitter some like slack, or not slack. I'm trying to say here is basically Twitter didn't do their job. Twitter support, I think it took like 48 hours for them to actually respond and then move it up the chain. The Twitter page is still there for the JRNY Club, the compromised one that they're locked out on. And then on top of it, the posts are actually still there. It's just wild that there's no mechanism in place to safeguard something like this. So many people lost passes, but they could have been prevented, and that number could have easily been cut in half, probably even stopped within minutes. But there is no mechanism in place. We are here, and ultimately it does fall on the shoulders of the user. But as a community for the JRNY Club, and I know Tony tweeted this out talking about making free content for security or allowing people to understand how to secure their funds moving forward, is we need it within the space. More people need more education on this. Yes, it falls on their shoulders, but we all need to come together and figure out a way to help individuals out and community members become more secure within this space. Now, when we do go over to OpenSea, checking out the JRNY Club official page, current floor price is 0.849, and the owners is right around 6,000. Look, a lot of people got spooked by this. This type of hack is never a good thing for a community, especially the amount of passes. It is somewhere estimated between 100 to 200 passes were stolen from members within the space, and then listed for even as low as 0.5. Of course, those were gobbled up, and typically probably even some bots out there were gobbling up and then relisting them where the floor price was at. Ultimately, that's usually typically also what happens. And then we saw some wash trading, passes being moved around, and members also, of course, eating up that floor, because guess what? It's capitalism at the end of the day. No one's to blame those people for picking up passes on the cheap. I thought about it, but what really scared me from even picking up any of those passes was if someone flagged the pass that I picked up. Ultimately, OpenSea is going to lock that asset, and I won't be able to trade it until they say that it is allowed on their site once again. Now, of course, you can go over to LooksRare or different NFT sites and marketplaces, but ultimately we all understand that OpenSea is de facto #1 marketplace within the space. So if you're looking to unload anything, you need to do so through OpenSea. But this is just such tough news for those in the space. It's going to be so interesting to see what the JRNY Club does for those users, if anything at all. Now, how we move forward is also going to be how the community is viewed moving forward, and it ultimately can be a huge hit in the short term, or can be something that the community rises up and becomes stronger because of this adversity. Now, further looking at the JRNY Club OpenSea page, buy now is currently at 100 items. This has been hovering around. We got, I think, as low as like 89 last week. I think it was right around, but still sitting at 100 items. That's 1% of the entire collection is out there on the floor currently, and that can continue to get gobbled up. But what the catalyst that we're really looking at for is not the Stardust Store itself that was launched. I didn't think it was going to affect too much of the floor price, and obviously we don't get to understand how the Stardust Store would have affected the price of the JRNY Club memberships because of the hack. The hack just was engineered probably for some time, and then once the Stardust Store dropped, here comes that hack. They got a password change. They were able to get in and get out, and here we are. So Looking further into the Planet Zolo ecosystems, we actually had a nice floor price. Actually, before we go into that, I do want to say that the JRNY Club activity, Gridcraft, actually picked up, I think, 10 plus passes for their own project, which where they're going to place within their entire metaverse world and allow people to kind of find different loot within the space and then gain passes as well. So we did see a rise from like, I think it was like 0.7 something floor all the way up to 0.98. Now the floor price is dipping back down. Villagers got up to 0.09, I should say, but they've been kind of steadily rising up within their floor price. Floor items is currently at 405. This is lower than when we did our last video. We actually hit under 400 for the first time since I started doing these videos. So we're going to keep seeing this number climb. The one piece is that the number of unique address is falling from where we were. If you've understand anything in this video, we want to see these numbers climb. More people entering the space. This is where the floor price will really excel. But in this market, you're just not going to see that at this time. Now, the Zolo key card itself is at 0.13. What is really interesting is watching villagers get so close to the key card, where obviously the key card's more valuable than a villager unless it's a extremely unique villager on the floor. But here's a key card at 0.13. I fully expect this to continue rising up as time goes along, but we're going to keep checking in on that each and every time. So let's go ahead, everyone, head over to our PowerPoint real quick. Check out a quick video around the web that the JRNY Club parent company is building. So as we quickly check in on the web that the JRNY Club is currently building, as you notice, JRNY Club sitting as the parent company. Underneath, there is a rewards collection, whether that's the pods, the placeholders for the villagers before they were revealed, as well as a collection for the diamond hand holders within the space, ultimately being the only two within the rewards collection, but we fully anticipate that to grow with time. And then there's also the Stardust Store. The points, the Stardust within the Discord can be collected from the JRNY Club as well as Planet Zolo, and the rewards collection all feeds back into that the Stardust Store itself, ultimately allowing you to purchase items whether they're in real life or for the metaverse. Now, as we head over to the first real ecosystem that the JRNY Club has launched, Planet Zolo. This really hasn't taken off yet, but we want to see how this game operates, as they did launch the game itself for Battle of Zolo. What other items are in store for this ecosystem currently right now is the villagers and the keys themselves. There is anticipation that there will be pets, very similar to what Bored Ape Yacht Club does, with the villagers, pets, and then keys. What else is in does this ecosystem have up its sleeve? That's a wait and see approach. The thing that we don't have on here that will ultimately eventually be added to this will be the JRNY Club. There'll be a side to side lock for all passes with a PFP set for the metaverse. Those come in tandem. So what you want to make sure, or at least from what my understanding is, if you sell one, you sell both. So make sure, just because you get a PFP that's attached to your JRNY Club pass, don't just go list that thinking that you can list that and not your pass. No, you'll lose both of them. From my understanding, that they are attached. So this is the web that's starting to grow, the ecosystem that's starting to build. I'm sure that they will bring in more ecosystems, and all comes funneling back to the JRNY Club itself. Just wanted to give you a quick update on this. Let's go check out the Stardust Store finally in all of its glory. Stardust leaderboard. JRNY Club leaderboard representing the top 14 individuals that are Stardust millionaires. AAA, Triple B, TYB Thuggin, Sir Castile, Raja, Aether, JRNY Blockwork Orange, RBSM, Brony, Youngie, Kez, Ada Lion, Chris, Damar, and finally Nizzy Nay Rogers. Rounding out the top 14, those individuals are Stardust millionaires. We're still down here at number 25, rather close to becoming a Stardust millionaire. Now, as we look at also the Stardust Store, the launch that was highly anticipated for quite some time, finally did launch. You're able to successfully connect here. Make sure you're always at JRNY.club, and this is stardust.jrny.club. Now, when we look further into this, you start to realize how many is in quantity. This is not all of it that's in the community wallet itself, but they'll still restock the Stardust Store roughly every 2 weeks from my understanding. But here's a quick look on price, like 1.5 million for a Colliders NFT. Then you look at Tron Wars is at 200,000. The one NFT that everyone, or whatever this is, everyone is talking about, it has to plays a buzz and it's Pickle Rick, Pickle Rick, Pickle Rick. What is it? There's 69 available. The first person to grab one, it'll be rather interesting to see what this, probably, I'm guessing a meme within all of this, but hey, it can become very valuable because there's only 69 of them. But also the JRNY Club pass itself is at 1.25. My Pet Hooligan is at 1 million. Then you got some in real life items like the Oculus Quest, Nintendo Switch. You got your first JRNY merch, limited merch that is, for 100,000 Stardust. And mind you, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to get some Stardust. You don't even have to be a membership holder. You don't have to be a Zola holder. Even though if you get into those ecosystems, you will get more Stardust, but you can come to the Discord and collect and work each and every day and earn, and then go get yourself over here on the Stardust Store and purchase some things along the way. But this is what Stardust Store currently looks like. I'm sure more things will be added along the way, and we'll keep you updated on that on a weekly, if not monthly, at the very least, the Stardust Store itself. But I hope everyone enjoyed this content. I know there was a lot of crazy shit that happened this past week, but we're here dealing with adversity. We've dealt with adversity for this project before, and ultimately we're going to come out on the other side better. And the reason why I believe that is because I choose to believe it in no other way, because I want this community to be successful, because I'm a part of this community, of course. So yes, my investment is riding on the success of this community, but I have faith, or I would have jumped ship a long time ago, that just because there's a little security hiccup, that it won't become prosperous in the future. I'm here for a long time, not just the good times. Until next time, everyone. Peace, y'all.